Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about the possibility of a marriage between Jon Snow and Dany in the final season, which in my opinion is definitely going to happen, and I'll tell you why. I'm pretty sure that by the end of this video most of you will agree that this Targaryen wedding is definitely happening, so let's just jump into it. A marriage of ice and fire was expected to already take place in the previous season, considering that the potential suitor in Westeros was the main reason Dany left her lover Daario Naharis behind in Meereen in the season 6 finale. However, season 7 did see ice and fire come together as Jon Snow and Dany Targaryen finally met and promptly fell in love. Since Dany did not come to Westeros to only conquer it, but also to build a stable order and reunite all the Seven Kingdoms, of which most are in an open rebellion against the crown, Jon Snow was and still is the only logical suitor for Dany. Not only that Jon is the only logical option, since as the king, Jon is one of the most powerful people in the Seven Kingdoms, one of a few men who actually has any authority and respect from his people that will fight beside him to the bitter end, but their pairing would also fulfill an ancient pact between those two houses, a pact that is dating all the way back before Aerys' madness. All the way back to the civil war between Targaryens, known as the Dance of the Dragons, a war in which House Stark supported the claim of a Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, a pact that was sustained with the condition in which a Targaryen, a royal princess, would marry a Stark. This agreement, known as the Pact of Ice and Fire, was never fulfilled, but it could change in the final season, since Dany does not want only to conquer the Seven Kingdoms, but wants to make it a better place, wants to build a stable structure, and marrying Jon Snow would bring her support and control over the kingdoms, that is large as the other 6 combined. As proven in the season 7 finale, even though the army of the dead is marching to kill the entire living side, proving alliances to people is still of the great importance. If sailing together sends a better message, then wedding will most certainly seal their alliance. Additionally, Jon and Dany have already begun an intimate relationship, although neither one of them is currently aware of their family ties. As we all remember, in the season 7 finale we saw the two hook up, while Bran's voiceover was explaining that they're in fact related. Since Jon and Dany are headed to Winterfell, it's likely that Bran and Sam will reveal the truth about Jon's true heritage early on in the season. Obviously, this revelation of Dany being Jon's aunt will come as a huge shock to both of them and will most certainly change their relationship. Even though incestuous pairings have never bothered Targaryens, and some might even say that it will not bother Jon and Dany as well, as they are Targaryens themselves, they are completely wrong. Targaryens did spend over 300 years wedding siblings in order to keep their bloodline pure. Dany's parents, Aerys the Mad King and Rhaenyra, were siblings, and Dany did grow up believing she would marry her sibling Viserys, but it simply is not the same. Even though intermarriage is accepted in Westeros and expected for Targaryens, Jon was not raised as a Targaryen and likely will not embrace their family traditions. As proven numerous times, Jon Snow is as honorable as Ned Stark, and in this case his honor and very stoic sense of right and wrong will most likely stop him from continuing a relationship with his aunt Dany. Throughout the series, it's been established that the first-degree incest outside of the Targaryen family, such as Craster and his daughters, and of course the most popular incest couple Jaime and Cersei, is considered wrong and immoral. Intermarriage between first cousins, on the other hand, is not considered incest in Westerosi society. A prominent example is that Tywin Lannister married his own cousin Joanna Lannister. However, Jon and Dany are not cousins, nor are they siblings, they're nephew and aunt, and therefore many are wondering if they will, upon finding out the truth, still marry each other to seal their alliance. The answer on that question is both yes and no. Yes, there will be a Targaryen marriage, but no, they will not marry out of love nor because they want to seal their alliance. They will do it because of their child. I know you might be a bit confused, so let's get a bit back. No, Jon and Dany will not continue their relationship after they found out the truth, which will by the way take place in the very beginning of the final season. But they don't have to, because Dany already got pregnant in the season 7 finale. It has been highlighted numerous times during this season that Dany believes she can no longer have children because of the prophecy that was told to her by Mirri Maz Duur in the season 1 finale. The prophecy tells when the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, when the seas go dry and the mountains blow in the winds like leaves, when your womb quickens again and you bear a living child, then he will return and not before. Despite Dany's belief that she cannot have children because of this prophecy, Dany will most definitely be pregnant with Jon's baby next time we see her. The show's next big twist was heavily foreshadowed through the previous season, with the most prominent one being Jon's statement in the season 7 finale, about the witch probably not being the most truthful source of information, for Dany to believe this nonsense regarding her ability of having children. Tyrion's conversation with Dany about her plan for succession is also quite prominent foreshadowed to Dany's pregnancy. In the 6th episode of the 7th season, Tyrion states that he wants to serve Dany for the long term, and wants to make sure that after she's queen and broken the wheel, it stays broken after her death. Just as Jon Snow stated, it's highly possible that the witch was not honest with Dany, which along with a lot of foreshadows might mean that the season finale brings more surprises than we hoped for. Additionally, Jon Snow becoming a father was foreshadowed a few times as well, with the most prominent one being Jorah talking to Jon about Jon's future child, his queen. So Dany is most likely pregnant, but having in mind that Jon will almost certainly find out about his true parentage almost at the same time Dany tells him that they're about to have a baby, quite a amount of fans also doubt that this marriage will actually take place. Well, this marriage is still probably happening a bit later in the season. I know you're still wondering how does Dany being pregnant change the fact that they're related, which of course it doesn't, and therefore why would they marry? Give me a few moments to explain it to you. Even though both of them will without a doubt refuse to even think about a marriage, whether it's political or out of love marriage, in the beginning of the season upon learning that they are nephew and aunt, they'll have even stronger reasons to do so later in the season, and the reason is going to be Dany's pregnancy. Once they learn of their family ties, the other news will hit them. They already mentioned Dany's pregnancy with Jon's baby, and that exact news will make them change their mind and actually marry. And here's why. Jon has been a bastard son his entire life, and he most certainly will not allow his child to be born out of wedlock and live a life he's been living. Both in the book series and on the show, Jon initially refuses to sleep with women because he's absolutely terrified that he might produce a bastard. I don't know if you remember this, but in the 4th episode of the very first season at Castle Black, Jon Snow and his friends simultaneously talk about having never been with a woman. Jon says that he once had a chance with Ross. He describes her to Sam as young and gorgeous. Jon ultimately refused to sleep with Ross, because as he explained it himself, they would be bastards, and that's not a good life for a child. Even when he falls in love with Ygritte, it's difficult for him to get over this fear of intimacy that might lead to pregnancy. The fact that Jon himself is not actually a bastard but a legitimate son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark and true heir to the Iron Throne is highly ironic of course, but it doesn't change the way he grew up, and it most definitely will not change his desire not to bring another bastard named Snow into the world. That's why Jon and Dany will marry, primarily because of their child. Their marriage would also give the answer to one of the biggest questions we have going into the final season: which Targaryen will claim the Iron Throne after or if they defeat the Night King. Well, in this case, people would not have to choose sides between Jon and Dany, nor would they themselves have to choose which one of them has better claim, and who should rule the Seven Kingdoms. They both will, King Jon and Queen Dany. In conclusion, the final season of Game of Thrones will most likely see a Targaryen marriage, once Daenerys reveals her pregnancy to Jon, and one of the main reasons being their child. Jon definitely would not want his kid to be born out of wedlock, to be a bastard because, as he said himself, it's not a life he would want upon anyone, let alone his own child. Again, this is just a theory, but I'm quite certain it will come true. Please make sure to let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section down below. It's now only 10 days until the beginning of the end, Season 8 premiere, and I will be posting videos every single day, so make sure to check your notifications on a daily basis. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.